in impeachment as well. But Biden seemed to have a really keen interest in covering up everything that was going on in Ukraine and was using figures in the Obama administration as vehicles to stop it, Yovanovitch and others. So, again, I wrote about it in a book of mine. Please listen to today's podcast. Don't miss it. The receipts are all there in the podcast for you to see. Check it out, rumble.com/Bongino. Really appreciate it. Give us a follow while you're there. It's free. See you back here tomorrow.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
You know that feeling? Like every door is closing and you just can't see a way out? Being unemployed, underemployed, or just out of school feels a lot like that. But when you find the right tools, suddenly everything just clicks. Getting on that path may be easier than you think. A good place to start? Go to findsomethingnew.org. At findsomethingnew.org, you have access to resources that help develop new skills. Skills that will position you for careers in today's growing industries, from healthcare and manufacturing to cybersecurity and alternative energy. Plus, you can take advantage of online courses, certification programs, apprenticeships, and more. So you can take yourself from unemployed and uncertain to empowered and prepared for what's next. Find your path to a new career today. Visit findsomethingnew.org. A message from the Ad Council.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. NATO says Russia is preparing for a long war, so the alliance must get ready to support Ukraine for as long as it takes. This week, NATO chiefs are meeting and are expected to discuss how allies can expand the delivery of weapons, training, and support to Ukraine in the coming months, and how they can further shore up their own defenses. GOP Congressman Dan Crenshaw says the battle over electing a speaker may have helped his party work out some of their differences.
You learn a lot about your colleagues. It's good to yell at each other sometimes and then apologize afterwards. There's actually a lot of growth that comes with that and a little bit more trust that occurs there.
Crenshaw tells the Salem Radio Network the party will need to find compromise as it faces an even bigger hurdle in coming to terms on a budget. Also at townhall.com, Microsoft is cutting 10,000 jobs. Rita Foley has more.
Some of the layoffs are immediate. Microsoft says the economy and customer priorities are changing. CEO Satya Nadella emailed employees using the R word, recession, saying organizations in every industry around the world are being cautious. Some parts of the world are in a recession, he wrote, and other parts are anticipating one. Amazon's cutting 18,000 jobs. Facebook parent Meta laying off 11,000 workers. Twitter slashed its workforce, too. Companies that boomed during the pandemic now right-sizing, say some executives. I'm Rita Foley.
Thousands of nurses in Britain walking out in a new strike over pay. Emergency care and cancer treatment will continue, but thousands of appointments and procedures are likely to be postponed. Stocks remain lower. The Dow is down 460 points and the NASDAQ losing 95. More at townhall.com.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-279-7495. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-279-7495 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-279-7495. What do you have to lose? Call 800-279-7495. Again, 800-279-7495.
From the News Talk STL Newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Bi-State Development plans to spend around $150 million to get about 40 new Metrolink train cars. The president and CEO of Bi-State said the new trains would have a lot more amenities like Wi-Fi, as well as new safety measures like modern security cameras. 4 vehicles were stolen Tuesday from the Laura Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealership in Sullivan. Police said around 1 a.m. an unknown number of people broke a window into the dealership, entered the building, and stole the keys to 3 Dodge Challengers and 1 Dodge Charger. Deerbergs is hosting a hiring event on January 26 to fill more than 100 new positions to staff its newest location in Crestwood. The hiring fair is scheduled from 2 to 6 p.m. at the Deerberg South Road store on Tesson Ferry. The Loop Ice Carnival in University City returns January 21st after a 2-year hiatus. The carnival will feature live ice carving demonstrations, stilt walkers, strolling magicians, ice ballerinas, and 10,000 ice cubes that contain either chocolate coins or dollar coins. The world's most popular musical, Les Miserables, is playing now through Sunday at the Fabulous Fox. Tickets start at $35, and each performance runs about 3 hours, including intermission. And in sports, the Blues welcome the Predators to St. Louis tomorrow night. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to newstalkstl.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your first alert forecast. Rain likely today, even a few rumbles of thunder possible this afternoon. Breezy too, with winds gusting up to about 30 miles per hour. We'll hit a high of 47 this afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms taper off this evening. We'll drop down to around 42 by tomorrow morning, but temperatures will fall during the day on Thursday. Will be mostly cloudy, another windy day, winds gusting up to about 40 miles per hour. During the afternoon, temperatures fall to around 39 degrees. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. Tony Colombo.
Libertarianism is all about individual liberty.
Katie Fitzpatrick.
Oh, good for you.
Colombo and Katie on News Talk STL.
Time to rise has been engaged. We're better, best to rearrange. I'm talking here to me alone. I listen to the finest work song. The finest hour. The finest
Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I am Tony Colombo. My partner is Katie Fitzpatrick. And you are with us, and we are so happy you are with us on this Wednesday. It's Wednesday now, afternoon. How are you?
It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday afternoon.
It is a crappy,
oh man, so
horrible Wednesday afternoon out there.
So rainy, so gloomy, and I don't know why I feel this. It's probably not true, but it feels like there's a little bit of humidity for some reason in the air to me. I know that that's made up because it's cold outside. It's like 40 degrees, but just something about the air feels sticky. And
no, it's wet.
I don't like it.
It's wet.
It's really just one of them days, ain't it?
Rain is terrible already, but when
Yes.
it's like you said, it's like around 40 degrees. When it's
Gloomy.
When it's ice cold rain.
Ugh.
Like not ice, not snow, just because
Cold
it's not
rain.
quite cold enough. It's like in the upper 30s. And that rain, it's just the worst.
I was thinking, though, I mean, if it was any colder.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of ice.
It'd be a lot of ice.
And that'd be bad.
And I would be like, oh, man,
That would
coming
be bad.
to work.
Oh, yeah. Vic
been
would be
iffy.
at home for a week.
He
and-
would have.
Yep.
He would have chain smoking in the house, hanging
Oh,
out.
Doing the show from the couch. Yeah, can't drive. I think a little ice fell. Can't drive.
We love you, buddy. We love you.
But yeah, so no, I would like from that standpoint, I would rather have this than the ice. But it still just is the like just when that freezing cold rain hits you.
Mm-hmm.
And I never wear a coat, so like it
Ugh,
just
I
like
forgot a
goes
coat.
right through me.
Are you okay? Here's a dumb question. After you just said I never wear a coat,
Mm-hmm.
do you have umbrellas in the house?
Mm-hmm.
Do you use any of the umbrellas?
I have used an umbrella.
I have a really nice umbrella in my house. It's big. I used it all throughout college whenever I was going to different classes because I felt like it was a necessity at that time.
Yeah.
I haven't picked that umbrella up since 2016.
I'm not
since I left.
I'm not opposed to an umbrella.
But
I just don't ever think to grab it or like have one in my truck. I should probably just keep one in my truck.
But when does it become another thing? You know, like I understand that we have a walk from here to the parking lot and it's not covered, so it would be beneficial for me to have that umbrella specifically today. But I was thinking
That's only a couple 100 feet.
I saw the umbrella and I was like,
Nah.
but is it worth another thing? Is
Yeah.
it worth carrying another
No.
thing and that thing being sopping wet then
No.
in the office?
My answer is no.
You know,
Yeah.
That's
That's why I don't wear a coat. That's why I don't wear a coat.
I'm wishy-washy.
That's why I don't wear a coat because I think to myself, I need the coat for what? I don't park in the garage at home. I park in the driveway. So I do have to go outside, but I usually remote start my truck because I'm loaded.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Big guy on campus.
So it's usually warmed up, by the time I get to it, and it's just a few steps outside the garage to get into my truck. So like I don't really need a coat for that. And then I have the walk, which can be rough. It's a few 100 feet walk from the parking lot into the building here. And especially when it's super cold or raining outside, it can suck to do that. But it takes 60 seconds.
Yeah, it's no
a
time.
minute, maybe 2 minutes at the most.
You can just kind of get it done.
Why am I going to lug a coat around with me that I'm going to only need for literally 2 minutes, or I guess 4 minutes for the 2 minutes back to the truck at the end of the day?
But the one thing I do have to say, even though you have remote start, that vehicle, that is the thing. I don't know why I didn't ask for that in my CRV. That was dumb.
Probably couldn't afford it.
It's true. That's so true. Look at this guy, Mr. Money over there. But it's still cold in the car.
I have 2 pairs of pants. 2. I have 1 pair of jeans.
And you know what? And it's a shocking thing to see you in the jeans.
Yeah, I don't
work.
wear them very often. Well, I only have 1 pair. I got to take care of them.
The only thing I have to call you on is this. I need the jacket. I'm always cold, perpetually cold, but I need the jacket when I get into the car after it's been out in that parking lot all day and it's been cold.
Yeah.
Even if I had remote start and it was warming up for 2 or 3 minutes or whatever the case may be, having that coat in the car, sitting in a freezing car, that is worth bringing it in 100 times over to me.
Yeah, I can't remote start from the building to the parking lot. So when I leave at night, the remote start doesn't do me any good. I mean, I do it. I start it as soon as I can.
Right.
Just to get that extra minute or so, even because especially when it's freezing cold outside, every second counts. But yeah, it's still pretty cold for a few minutes in the truck.
That's worth it to me. Give me the coat.
You should get I bought Christine a heated coat.
Oh yeah.
Because again.
Because
Just swimming in it.
cha-ching.
Yeah.
Baller.
Hundreds of dollars. I make.
Ballin'.
Yep.
Hundreds of dollars. Yeah.
I do. I have hundreds. And she loves it. She loves it.
I need to get one of those.
It's a heated coat.
Michelle Rush.
Michelle Rush has
Jinx.
one. Yep.
That's crazy.
She was the one actually who I first saw with it on and went, "Oh, I should get one of those for Christine," and I was right.
And you were right. Yep. It was
She
all
freaking-
you.
She loves it. No, I mean, like when I saw it, I was like, Christine would love it, and I was right. She loves it. You should get it. If you're
I'm going
perpetually
to.
cold, you really should get one.
I'll. You know
because
what?
they're really stylish. They look great.
Yeah, it's like a little. Not a little, but it's a vest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are in.
Christine's has sleeves, but
Those are in.
Michelle's is the vest. Yeah.
I got a little space heater
And
going on
she
in my office.
Loves it. She has a space heater too.
God, it's the best.
She has the space heater. My wife has the space
The
heater,
hookup.
the heated coat. She has 2 heated blankets.
Oh, in the office?
No, just in her life.
In just general.
Yeah.
But
Just
Christine is
everywhere she goes,
tiny.
she has heat.
She's tiny. So tiny people.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're.
We
pretty tiny
get
as
cold.
well, yes.
We get cold.
Well, us bigger folks don't. 'Cause I'm always sweating. All right, we got things to talk about. We've got a show to do here. Lots to talk about today. In fact, it being Wednesday means, speaking of having a little fun, we will continue to have a little bit of fun. Just about an hour from now, just after 3 o'clock, we will open up Close's Cabinet, brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. So we will talk to Mark Close from KC95 and our buddy Skip Weber from Weber Chevrolet. Always fun to talk to those guys, and that happens every Wednesday at about 3:05, so definitely keep it here for that. And we were supposed to talk to Rodney Boyd today, the Insider's Insider, but he has been called away on assignment, so Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire has stepped up, and she will be joining us in a few minutes to talk about all of the craziness happening in the Capitol surrounding the documents, and it looks like there's about to be a press briefing, and there could be some new information or new questions regarding the classified documents and Joe Biden. So depending on when that happens and what they're talking about, we may go live to the White House for a few minutes this afternoon to see if there's anything worth hearing.
Jim Jordan.
About Jim
That's
Jordan's-
the dude.
Yeah, he's
That's the dude.
Yeah, he's giving an interview right now, and I'm sure he's got a lot to say about that. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll go live to the White House if we need to. I want to start somewhere that probably would be not where you would predict I would start today, but this story grabbed my attention, and I found it to be fascinating. Virginia Democrats force the state to adopt California's crackdown on gas cars. What in the world does California law have to do with people in Virginia? Well, this is a story. This is a cautionary tale for those throughout the United States, including here in our area in Missouri and Illinois. Democrats in the Virginia Senate successfully rejected multiple attempts made yesterday by Republicans to repeal a 2021 law aimed at curbing carbon emissions by tethering state regulations to those set in California. Virginia Republicans, including the governor, Glenn Youngkin, have opposed the 2021 legislation, arguing it threatens grid reliability and mandates the state to pursue unrealistic measures. In March of 2021, the former governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, signed a law that is what they called the Clean Cars Bill in an effort to bolster Virginia's clean energy transition and to boost the number of electric cars sold throughout the state. The bill, which was praised by environmental groups, also mandates that Virginia automatically adopt tailpipe emission standards implemented in California. So this bill that the Democrats, including Ralph Northam, when he was the Democrat governor of Virginia in 2021, means that from now on, whenever California passes a law regarding emissions or cars or anything like that, that Virginia automatically has to adopt the same law.
Why?
What? What kind of boneheaded, dumb... I mean, like, what are you thinking? So, anyway, Republicans opposed the clean car legislation.
Of course.
At the time, Northam signed it into law and again expressed their ire for its provisions this past August when a California environmental agency moved forward with a rule requiring all new vehicle sales to be electric and banning new gas-powered car sales beginning in 2035. So, and due to the 2021 law, Virginia is now required to adopt the same rule. So California passed a ridiculous law last year that said, starting in 2035, you are not allowed to sell new cars in the state of California if they run on gas.
That is so stupid. That is stupid in general.
That's already
dumb.
Yeah. In 2035, which is not that far away, you cannot sell new cars in the state of California if they run on gasoline. And because Virginia signed this dumb bill a couple of years ago in 2021, they have to adopt the same rule. Youngkin, the new governor, the Republican, vowed in his 2022 energy plan to repeal that legislation. But yesterday, the Democrats in the state were able to thwart his latest attempt to get Virginia away from that law. What in the... I've never heard anything like that, especially like...
These are not sister states.
Exactly. It'd be one thing if it was like Missouri and Illinois, like teaming up to like, hey, let's keep everything.
Get something done.
Which I still wouldn't agree with, but at least makes some sense because we share common borders and common area.
Mm-hmm.
And,
goods.
Yeah, and industry and all of that. Virginia and California could not be
farther apart. It just, and neither one of, they don't have the same population.
And
they
what if California miraculously were to elect a Republican and they were just to like do a 180?
Yeah, that's
all the people in Virginia would then have to just go along.
Flip it around, yep.
Like, why would you ever give away ice cream all the time about giving away your freedoms to the federal government?
There's got to be a handshake.
Why would you
that
give
was
it away
done.
to another state?
There's got to, don't you think there's got to be something behind closed doors that was done, that was said to make these two, opposite ends of the United States. They're both coasts, but they don't have the same population. They don't have the same, goods, services. Nothing about these two states are similar besides that they're on the coasts. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't agree with a policy like this. I think that people of Virginia should be very, very upset. But it makes me question what is happening behind closed doors for people to agree upon something so ridiculous as this.
I've just never heard of anything like that. I've never heard of a state, especially one that's completely on the other side of the country, passing a law that says, whenever you guys pass a law, we have to do the same exact thing.
It just is so stupid. It's just so dumb.
Don't do that. Anybody that's listening
Feel bad for Virginia.
If you're within the sound of my voice,
don't do that.
Support a law. Don't support any legislation that would enact any type of rule similar to what they did in Virginia in 2021.
Golly.
It is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard.
To follow California, period,
Yeah.
just seems like the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were
It
to say
can get
Montana and
real
Virginia, I'd be
extreme.
like, that's weird.
They
But
can
Virginia,
they can get real extreme in California.
Yeah, I mean, that is California and New York are like the absolute extreme states that work off of ideology. Period.
Yeah, it's wild. Wild stuff. All right, the press briefing is underway in the White House, so we are going to we'll check in with that and see if there's anything important, any new news that we need to bring your way, and if so, we will do that here in just a moment, and we are also going to talk to our friend Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire, so don't go anywhere. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Another rainy night goes by.
Stream Colombo and Katie at newstalkstl.com.
About you and I.
Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk.
I'm sitting in the
This is what's happening.
It's about time that Joe Biden went down to the border. Speaker McCarthy is our speaker.
News, analysis, opinion.
Violence that's tearing apart our city.
1019 and 94.1. This is News Talk STL.
So as we start this new year, if you have been thinking about selling your home, do not wait. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway ASAP, because the beginning of the year here is still a good time to sell your home, but you don't know how long that window is going to be open. Markets are changing. I had a tremendous experience. My wife and I are happy every day for the house that we are in, thanks to the Wallner Home Selling Team. Last year, we bought our new house, and we absolutely love it, and they just killed it on both sides. Selling our old house, how fast they sold it, how much they were able to get for it, and then finding us a new house in a very difficult market. They just absolutely crushed it, and that's why they are the best. That's why they're selling 15 times more homes per year than your typical home seller. That's why they have so many qualified buyers right now that they guarantee to get you an offer. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, it's a lot different of a world, a lot different market than when you sold your home, Tony. And you're right, things have changed, but it is still a great time to sell your home. There are still things that you could take advantage of. And again, you don't know how long that window is going to be open. So if you've been thinking about selling your home, at least call the Wallners now and talk to them about how much they think they can get for your home, how fast they think they can sell it. So then at least you're armed with that knowledge and you can make that decision if it is indeed time to move forward. Because if you have been thinking about selling your home, once this window does close, who knows when another opportunity like this will arise. So it's not something that you want to put off. If you are ready to talk to the Wallners, if you've been thinking about selling your home, you need to call them now at 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michael's. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
The latest news.
Joe Biden decided to go to the border.
This visit is about 2 years too late and about $20 billion short.
The Republicans haven't been serious about this at all.
The news you need to know.
A 6-year-old boy intentionally shot his teacher.
Classified documents were discovered
at the Penn Biden Center.
We need to investigate the Bidens nonstop.
And the place to talk about it.
What's it going to be like in 30 years from now? What kind of conversation are we going to be having?
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
First Responders Children's Foundation takes care of the children and families the brave ones leave at home. Help us help them. Text BRAVE to 24365 to learn how you can help first responders in your community today.
When it's important to you,
stay informed.
It's on News Talk STL.
Classified documents were discovered
at the Penn Biden Center.
We need to investigate the Bidens nonstop.
The resolution is agreed to.
We now have a rules package for MAGA extremists.
News, analysis, and opinion.
The president who caused the chaos of the border.
But they need a lot of resources and we're going to get them for them.
2 years and about $20 billion too late.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Wednesday, and at 3:45 we'll have Project 21 co-chair Horace Cooper, and at 4:25 Mike Ferguson.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo Katie on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. It's so funny you're playing this because I almost quoted this song when we were doing that last story.
Did you?
Yeah, when we were talking about California passing legislation on vehicle emissions, I was going to make a bad joke. I really was. This was it's so funny you're playing this song. I was really going to make some kind of joke about how they don't know how to make good laws about the environment, but they do know how to party.
I can't. I can't with you, Tony.
Do.
And now, some interesting facts from the most interesting guy in the
I just
world.
felt I wanted to play something, and that's the closest thing I could play.
Just to break the
like
mood.
I wanted to do a womp womp. That's what I could play.
All right, well that'll work. Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Joining us on the phone now is our friend Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire on this crazy day. Virginia, thanks for your time as always. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am good. So we did check in with the press briefing at the break, and the best I can tell, the only thing that they had talked about so far, the first two questions, with everything happening surrounding the White House and the Democrats and these classified documents, the first question was about the FAA, and the second question, which I didn't even hear the full question, was about Nigeria. I was like, really? We don't have a better question to ask? We're not going to lead with classified documents today? Nope, not at all. So I don't know if there's going to be any information or anything new.
But the lower third said that they were going to talk about the classified. That's the thing.
I think people were assuming that they would have to because it's a press briefing and somebody's going to ask about them. But so far, not so much. So if anything does happen at the press briefing today, we will let you know. Virginia, it's been a little while since you and I have had a chance to talk on the air. So I'd like to get your thoughts just on where we're at right now with these classified documents and the track that we're on right now, and if you think that that's the proper way to go, and then obviously, you know, the big difference in the way that we're handling this situation than we did with Donald Trump before. What are your thoughts on this whole thing as it stands right now?
Well, a couple things. One, I can understand why they're not asking questions about the classified documents, because she's already made it clear she's not going to answer the question.
That's true.
She's not going to give them any information. And so maybe they're just saying, well, we'd like to have some information about something, so let's ask a question she'll answer. Mm-hmm. I think they've already made the point ad nauseum that she's not going to answer the questions. And they've criticized her publicly, and multiple networks have criticized her publicly for refusing to answer the question. So I think we've kind of driven that point home already, and continuing to ask the question just wastes time in the briefing and doesn't get anywhere else.
But don't you think, I'm sorry, Virginia, but don't you think that it's, to me, I understand that she's not going to answer the question. And I get that maybe they can't right now because it's the investigation process and what it entails and what it involves. I understand that she from the podium can't say anything, and I understand that Biden won't say anything either. They don't want to give up their hand. But don't you think it is important that the reporters keep pressing her on this, whether it be the same question or something that's related to? I think
they will.
Yeah.
I think they will probably before the end of the briefing. You'll have at least one person who will fall on the sword and ask the question, even though nothing's going to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. But here's what's interesting. One of the reasons that Karine Jean-Pierre is not answering the questions, and I don't blame her, did you see what happened to her over the weekend? If you look at what she said on Friday, and I've got a piece on this at the Daily Wire right now, on Friday, she repeated what the White House counsel told her, that all of the searching had been completed and all of the documents in Biden's possession, whether they be at the Penn Biden Center, in his house, in a box in his garage, in a box under the stairs, who knows where they are at this point. But she said she parroted the White House counsel's line that said all of the documents had been properly disclosed and handed over.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Saturday, 5 more documents were found.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so on Tuesday's briefing, which was the first briefing after the holiday, she had multiple reporters, and not just, she had James Rosen from Newsmax, but also Pamela Keith from NPR saying, hey, does this damage your credibility that you said something on Friday that was not true?
Didn't they ask her if she was sorry?
That was NPR. NPR asked, did it damage her credibility? So they were a little nicer to Karine Jean-Pierre because I think they realized you were repeating what you were told.
Right.
And but James Rosen said, look, are you sorry that you gave us bad information? Are you sorry that you stood up there and said this and it wasn't true? And so Karine Jean-Pierre may be like, I don't want to repeat what the White House counsel said because I got burned last time.
Yeah. Yeah, so and she definitely doesn't want to admit to being sorry, because if she admits to being sorry for giving bad information this time, oh boy, she's got a lot of she's got a long list of apologies to be making.
Yes, so there's a lot of that going on. A little CYA from the podium, and which I completely get. I would not want her job. I mean, I would not want that job with any president.
Right.
But I would not want her job specifically because, good God.
And Virginia, something else, another layer on top of this, and you also wrote this article about Joe Scarborough, reading the Biden administration, the Riot Act, over the classified documents. Isn't it also interesting to see this shift with a lot of people that have praised Biden, praised his administration? I mean, let's face it, they haven't come out and said it, but they voted for Biden. They wanted him to succeed. All of these other pundits and reporters and anchors from different and various news outlets now are kind of saying there is no protection around what just happened with Biden. We can't protect him. Exhibit A, Joe Scarborough.
Right. And I think that's interesting. But you do see some other people who, like Anna Navarro, who claims to be a Republican, saying that because, she doesn't like Ron DeSantis and she lives in Florida, she'll support Biden no matter what he does. And she actually tweeted that. Like, guys, you can't say that because it will come back to bite you. These blanket statements are not your friend.
Yes.
But on a completely different topic, have you seen all the kerfuffle over the guy with the rainbow hockey jersey in Philadelphia?
I have, yeah. Yes.
So what I think is interesting is all the people who are coming out and saying that the league, or at very least his team, should punish him. And I actually tweeted about that. I was, and I'll see if you make the same connection I did, Tony. Let's see, where'd it go?
So to set the stage real quick for people that may not be familiar with the story, there's a player for the Philadelphia Flyers hockey team. Last night they were having some sort of LGBTQ Pride night, at their game, and they warmed up with special rainbow jerseys on and like rainbow wrapped tape on their sticks. And this one player for the Flyers, who is I think from Russia, he's not from the United States, he's Eastern European Russian, said that because of his Christian Orthodox belief that he was not going to participate in the warm-ups. And so he didn't. He did play in the game. And then because of that, there's been a lot of people, as you said, the kerfuffle, a lot of people calling for him to be punished for not participating.
Suspended,
yes, exactly.
Take your pick.
Yep.
And I just said, so let me make sure I'm getting this right. A hockey player refused to wear a Pride jersey. And now, all of a sudden, everyone wants to argue that the team and the league would have been within their rights to discipline a player who sat out the national anthem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't.
These are the same people who were angry that the league said, no, you need to stand up.
Yeah, exactly. It never goes both ways. It's the same people that want to combat racism with racism. It's the same people that want to say, well, we need to fight for equality by taking away rights from the perceived group that's been on the superior side for longer. That's not how you establish equality, and this is not how you establish equality.
Yeah, I was going to say success is not a zero-sum game, and you have to make it one in order to. They've got this idea. You understand what I'm saying when I say that, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a limited amount of success out there, and for me to have it, I have to take it from somebody else.
Right.
Well, that's not how this works.
Nope, that's not how this works, and that's
not
how.
And
it's not the truth.
It's absolutely not, and that's what we're being taught. We're being taught that when you apply it to race, gender, it doesn't matter, that for women to succeed, we need to punish men.
Yeah, men have to fail.
We're also living in a world, Virginia, where now we have
But
to make a
we can't define
decision.
either one of them anyway.
That's true. But we're having to make a decision with whose rights matter more. Does your religious freedom trump my freedom to wear a Pride jersey on Pride night? I mean, now we're in this debate where we're having a constant conflict over whose rights are more important in society, and really rights are rights.
And yes and no, because they're talking. We're comparing apples and oranges, because my right to not put on a Pride jersey, for example, is my right to free speech and expression.
Yes.
That is outlined in the First Amendment. You don't have a right to not be offended by that.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
They're demanding that we acknowledge rights that don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue.
Yep.
And so it comes down to, it's not comparing rights to rights. It's comparing, actual enumerated rights to
emotions, to feelings.
Yeah, emotional responses to me exercising my rights.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's solving, and it's trying to create equality by creating a system of inequality, of putting certain people above others, which is exactly what
they're
we're
not
supposed to
trying,
not be
and they're not even saying they're trying to create equality anymore. It's all about equity.
That's a good point.
Because equity is not equality.
Mm-hmm.
Equity is they're demanding the same outcome for everybody, whether they have the same tools or opportunities or not. Like, if you all have equal access to the opportunity, that's what equality is. Equal access to the opportunity to do things, or to do a certain thing, or to reach a certain goal. And that's what we're supposed to have.
Yep, absolutely. We were talking to Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire, who is one of the many contributors to this radio station and listeners to the radio station that live in the state of Illinois. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this story. We've covered all week the assault weapons ban, the new Second Amendment infringing legislation that has been passed by Governor Pritzker and Democrats in the state of Illinois. And it's kind of taken another step up here this week. We actually talked to Sheriff Dave Marshak from Jefferson County a little bit about this last week. And Sheriff Marshak is under the belief that this law in the state of Illinois will be eventually deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court and will not be a permanent situation in the state. And when we were talking to Sheriff Marshak, we discussed the fact that there are many sheriffs in the state of Illinois that have said that they are not going to enforce this legislation that they believe is unconstitutional and infringing on Second Amendment rights. And now the governor, J.B. Pritzker, has basically threatened those sheriffs for doing that. He said that we are fully supportive of the sheriffs in Illinois, or we are fully supportive who will not enforce the law. Basically saying, I don't have the quote here, but he basically said, if they don't enforce the law, if they don't do their job, they won't have their job.
Yes.
And
they'll get a fine first.
Yeah. And sheriffs are elected by the people, first of all. So, Virginia, unless I'm wrong, the governor of Illinois does not have any jurisdiction to fire a sheriff that was elected by the people of the area that he serves in. But now we've taken it to the level of threatening the law enforcement officers that won't enforce your unconstitutional legislation.
I would have to look that up, because different states have different rules when it comes to that. Like, I know Ron DeSantis has removed, I think, district attorneys that didn't prosecute people. Or there are certain states where the governor can recall somebody, and then it goes to another election. He doesn't appoint somebody new. But I don't know if Illinois has that as well, because I believe somebody was talking about that on this station yesterday with regard to Kim Gardner and whether or not she could be removed. by the governor, which she can't in Missouri. But Illinois, it's possible. I don't know. I would have to look that up. So that is something, obviously, that would be a factor. If he knows he can do that and he's threatening to do that, that's the thing that would have to be discussed, I guess. But what I think is interesting, and this is, I live in Madison County, which is one of the counties that is refusing to comply with this. And what they said in the statement that they put out from the county is not that we're not going to enforce this at all, but we are not going to enforce this as a primary issue. So the idea is basically if your only crime is part of this assault weapons ban, we're not coming after you. Mm-hmm. However, if we arrest you for something else and find that you violated a part of it, we're going to use that to get you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
But you have to be arrested for something else for them to apply any of the. At least that's the way they wrote it.
What do you think of the idea that it will be struck down by the Supreme Court eventually? And if so, if you are somebody who was arrested for something else, or you're in a county where the sheriffs are more strictly and more aggressively enforcing this, if you have your guns confiscated or your 10-round magazine taken away from you, and then 6 months later the Supreme Court says, "Oh, that law was completely unconstitutional." What a mess that creates, doesn't it?
Well, it's just like the states that are making marijuana legal, and then they have to look into vacating sentences for people who've been arrested solely for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it is something that would have to be looked at down the road, obviously. I hope they overturn it because it is an absolute... I mean, they're outlining something they can't even define for the most part.
Yeah. Do you agree? Do you believe that this law is unconstitutional and will eventually be struck down, or do you think that it will be the law of the land in Illinois for a long time?
It's really going to depend on the Supreme Court. Because
that laughs at it all.
If Illinois gets any say in it, it's going to stay. That's number one.
Right.
And number two, if this one gets struck down, they're going to try again. So
yeah, great point.
This is Illinois we're talking about. They're gonna keep at it.
Yeah.
And they're gonna do the same thing to codify abortion rights, and they're gonna do basically they're looking at California for tips, I guess.
Woo. Illinois and Virginia both looking at not Virginia the person, Virginia the state, looking to California for advice on how to legislate, and I just do not think that's a good way to go forward. Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire, thank you so much as always for your time. Make sure that you follow Virginia on Twitter at VA Kruta, and of course you can read her articles at thedailywire.com and our website newstalkstl.com. Virginia, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep, have a good one.
That is great stuff there from Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire. Switching across state lines from the Illinois governor to the St. Louis County executive, Sam Page. Illinois governor thinks that he can tell sheriffs and law enforcement officers and just and the people of Illinois exactly how they're going to live their lives and remind them who's in charge. And Sam Page is doing the same to a group of people in St. Louis County right now.
Sounds about right.
Whether the voters agree with him or not, he is once again putting his foot down and letting people know who is the boss. We will tell you about that story in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Stream Colombo and Katie at newstalkstl.com. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
We need change in our country right now.
Live and local.
They clubbed us over the head for 2 years.
Yep. You want corruption? This is how we get corruption.
This is News Talk STL.
What if everything you thought and believed to be true about owning and buying your home turned out to be wrong?
Straightforward, objective advice on the right way to make the most out of every dollar you put into your home.
We're the only country that has one of those. Most other countries, considering like Canada, the UK, They don't have long-term fixed-rate mortgages like that. They're all variable rate mortgages.
HomeWise with Michael Midget. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
I want to remind you guys about Grasser Electric, and just to keep them in mind if you have any electrical needs around your house. Grasser Electric is a company that we discovered when we moved into our new home last spring. Had never used them before, had never used their services before, but now we've used them multiple times and already have plans to use them again because we have been so happy with the services that they provide. Grasser Electric specializes in all electrical needs, ranging from large-scale commercial products all the way down to simple home service needs, such as replacing a bad light switch. We have used them multiple times in the Colombo household as we, moved into our new home. So there's a lot of things that we are replacing or, updating and things like that. And there were several light fixtures throughout the house that we did not like and were replacing. And, that is typically maybe sometimes the work that you think that you can do yourself right up until you go up and realize that you might be putting yourself in a very dangerous electrical situation. And then you call Grasser Electric and they come over and they do the job quickly, efficiently for a great price, and everything is beautiful and perfect. And you go, that was definitely the way to go. As we said, they cover all the possible ranges in electrical service needs and can handle just about any electrical project you have in mind. They also offer free quotes for new projects. If you have an electrical problem or just need a quote for new work, you can contact Grasser at 636-441-5200 or just go to grasserelectric.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
October, today I wanted to talk, if you don't mind, about drug prices. You okay with that?
Street drugs or pharmaceuticals? What are you talking about?
I don't know. What do you got?
What are you looking for? I don't wear trench coats. No, I'm kidding you.
Hey,
I heard you. I couldn't believe what they're charging now. They're going to charge $100 for marijuana growers if you want to cultivate marijuana, like privately, just for your own use. You're going to have to get a license from the state, and it's crazy.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. In a few minutes, we are going to open up Close's Cabinet, brought to you by Weber Chevrolet, and speak to our buddy Mark Close from KC95 and Skip Weber from Weber Chevrolet. Always a lot of fun to talk to those guys, so make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll do that just after 3 o'clock. Right now, I wanted to get into this story about what is happening in Manchester. Manchester officials today accused Sam Page of trying to obstruct the city's efforts to annex a portion of unincorporated county, St. Louis County. And the county executive said they're right. That's exactly what he is trying to do. Manchester was to annex an unincorporated area of roughly 6,500 residents, a measure that could go before voters as soon as April. But the proposal needs one last vote from the commission that regulates annexation before it moves forward. Late last week, County Executive Sam Page tried to stop the proposal by recommending 2 new appointments replace existing members on that committee. Appointments are subject to confirmation by the council, and the council members rejected one of the appointments and postponed the other at their regular meeting last night. The move effectively put the appointments on hold because the council could reconsider the failed appointment. The mayor of Manchester, Mike Clement, urged the council to continue to hold the appointments until the commission finishes considering annexation. He said, quote, "No member of the St. Louis County Boundary Commission or any board should be fired for serving independently, thoughtfully, and loyally. Voters should decide the question of annexation, not Dr. Page."
Yeah.
Truer words have never been spoken. A spokesperson for Sam Page said, quote, "It is the county executive's job to look out for the best interests of the entire county. Dr. Page was pleased to learn that there was another step in the process and stunned that the commission supported a bad proposal. New voices need to be added to the commission to represent the entire county." Or how about the voters can just represent the entire county? And how about bad proposal in whose opinion? Your opinion? In the opinion of the voters? In the opinion of the mayor of Manchester? Like, supported a bad proposition is an opinion, not a statement of fact. And it doesn't, I couldn't agree with the mayor of Manchester more. Voters should decide this, whether they want to annex this portion, the people that live in that part of unincorporated St. Louis County, and the people, the citizens in Manchester.
Yes.
They should have the say in this.
It sounds
Full stop. That's it.
It sounds like Sam Page was caught in a situation where I don't really think this has ever stopped him before, but everyone was disagreeing with him, and he didn't like that everyone was disagreeing with him, and that's why he said, we need more people on the council to have different types of opinions. It's like,
it wasn't going the way you wanted it to go.
I need someone to be a yes man. I need someone to say, which that's what it sounds like, but again, I don't know if something like that has ever stopped him before. I mean, the COVID restrictions and everything, there were many, many people opposing all of that. And he still moved forward being the king of the county. This is such a weird situation to me where it sounded like he needed someone in his corner saying, you're right, yes. And that's why he wanted more people on the council.
At least in some of the big controversies that Sam Page has been a part of, he's had, there's been votes or there's been, like polls or whatever where, like some of that COVID stuff was real 50-50.
Yeah.
So he had
people in his corner.
A lot of people, a lot of citizens at the county supporting him. But in this case, it sounds like he just
everybody was like, nah, dude.
It's the vote. I mean, let the voters decide. Why would... That should always be the answer. That should never be in doubt, especially by any elected politician, to say, oh, no, we need to overstep. This is a bad proposal. This is a bad deal, and I need to look out for you and your stupidity and the bad decision that you're about to make and stop you from making that decision and overrule.
But that's the way he
people.
rolls. I mean, just like you said with J.B. Pritzker, that's exactly the way that these people roll. It's their entire ideology that big government knows better than you as an individual. Government can take care of you. I am part of the government. I am the government. And I know what's best for my county, my city, my state. And it doesn't really matter what you think as an individual.
Yeah. And I don't care. Personally, I don't care one bit. I don't live in St. Louis County. Right. I don't live in Manchester. I don't live anywhere near that area. I don't care if they annex that or not. But I do know that it should be up to them.
And what they want to do with it.
I do know it should be up to the people that live there. If they want to, if the people in the unincorporated area want to be a part of Manchester, if the people of Manchester want to annex that portion of the county, that I have nothing to do with it.
Yep.
And it should be completely up to them. All right. We are going to have a little bit of fun here in just a minute and open up Close's Cabinet as we do every Wednesday afternoon. Mark Close from KC95 and Skip Weber from Weber Chevrolet will be joining us in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
News, analysis, opinion.
In electing a speaker,
the Honorable Kevin McCarthy.
As Speaker of the House, our responsibility is to our country.
The keys have been handed over to extremists.
This is News Talk STL.
Steep surge of rising prices.
I will visit the border myself to see the chaos that he himself created.
But they need a lot of resources, and we're going to get them for them.
News Talk STL.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
And NewsTalkSTL.com.
Hey, it's Vic. Everyone here at News Talk STL is incredibly grateful for the growth in our business during the first 18 months since we signed on the air. We appreciate the great local businesses like Southern Armory, Rhino Shield, Steph's Pizza, and the Walner team that have become one of our many advertising partners. If your business is interested in becoming part of the News Talk STL family, simply send an email to info@newstalkstl.com. We have a wide variety of affordable advertising options. And thanks for listening to News Talk STL. Welcome home.
It is a great time of year to visit our friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois, about a mile east of Fast Eddie's there in Alton. Not only have they just opened up their brand new expansion out there, they put in a state-of-the-art archery range, state-of-the-art techno hunt system, something that you cannot find within 100 miles in any direction of the St. Louis area. There is nothing like what they have out at Bluff City Outdoors. They have been the place to go for the anglers, for fishermen in the area for decades, and they continue to be that. It's a great time. If you're hardcore, you know it's a great time to be out on the water catching fish. If you're waiting for the better weather, it's a perfect time of the year to get out there and stock up your tackle box. So make sure you visit Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, and don't forget about the Bluff City Outdoors show every Saturday at 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Learn more about Bluff City Outdoors by following them on Facebook or going to bluffcityoutdoors.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. A Federal Reserve official is validating the Fed's forecast that inflation will steadily decline this year.
The signs are that inflation is easing. Consumer prices keep dropping after reaching a 4-decade high in June.
I think we're starting to see our policy actions do what they're intended.
But the central bank's moves so far have nearly doubled mortgage rates and sharply lifted the cost of auto loans and other business and consumer credit. Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester emphasizes more rate hikes are needed.
So I just think we need to keep going, and we'll discuss at the meeting how much to do at any one particular meeting.
Rates are currently in a range of 4.25 to 4.5%, the highest in 15 years. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Also at townhall.com, Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas says he's optimistic the Republicans can pull together and come to terms on a budget. That's despite the deep divisions that came to the surface in selecting Kevin McCarthy as Speaker.
There are going to be differences. This is going to be difficult times with the budget and the debt ceiling. Those are going to be difficult times, but I do think we'll get through them. I'm a little bit more optimistic than most.
Crenshaw tells the Salem Radio Network he's glad the party was forced to confront its divisions early on, something he says may benefit in the long run. Ukrainian President Zelensky has told political leaders at the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, Switzerland, that supplies of Western weapons must come quicker than Russian attacks. Zelensky, speaking by video link from Kyiv, is urging the world to move faster in its decision-making because, quote, tragedies are outpacing life. The tyranny is outpacing democracy. The Dow finished down 613 points today. The S&P off 62. More at townhall.com.
Hello?
Hey, stranger.
Oh, hi. Thank goodness it's you. I was afraid to answer the phone.
Why? What's up?
The credit card companies are after me. They want me to make payments, and the calls never stop.
Ouch. Been there before, but I got help from Trinity Debt Management.
Trinity?
Yeah, I called, and right away, Trinity contacted my creditors and got my interest rates cut in half. They ended all the late fees and over-limit charges, and they stopped those annoying phone calls.
Bet that was a relief.
Yep. Then they put me on a plan that consolidated my bills into one easy monthly payment. That way, I paid off my debt fast while saving thousands.
Nice.
Trinity even showed me how to plan and meet a monthly budget. So now I'm debt-free for keeps.
Wow. Do you still have their number?
Sure. Here, write this down and call 1-800-990-6976.
Can you repeat that?
1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Wes Moore becomes Maryland's first black governor.
Moore will be sworn in as governor today using a Bible once owned by Frederick Douglass, a Marylander who escaped slavery on the state's eastern shore before becoming the famed abolitionist. When he gives his inaugural speech as Maryland's 63rd governor, Moore will be looking out on a mall in front of the Capitol with a statue of former U.S. Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall. Wes Moore becomes the third black governor elected in the nation's history. Virginia's Douglas Wilder was elected in 1989, and Deval Patrick of Massachusetts was elected in 2006. I'm Donna Warner.
Party City filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection after struggling with rising prices and a pullback in customer spending. The company, which operates more than 800 company-owned and franchised stores, has faced increased competition from Walmart and Target. Breaking news at townhall.com. A mass shooting in Goshen, California this week, likely a cartel hit. There were 6 victims. Authorities searching for 2 suspects. The former Minneapolis police officer serving 22 and a half years in prison for putting his knee to the neck of George Floyd is asking that his state conviction be tossed out.
An attorney for Derek Chauvin will argue before an appeals court that numerous legal and procedural errors deprived his client of a fair trial. The attorney says pretrial publicity was more extensive than any other trial in Minnesota history, and that the trial should have been moved elsewhere and the jury sequestered. The attorney also argues that the judge improperly excluded evidence that could have been favorable to Chauvin and accuses prosecutors of misconduct. Chauvin later pleaded guilty to a federal civil rights charge and was sentenced to 21 years in a federal prison.
More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your first alert forecast. Rain likely today, even a few rumbles of thunder possible this afternoon. Breezy, too, with winds gusting up to about 30 miles per hour. We'll hit a high of 47 this afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms taper off this evening. We'll drop down to around 42 by tomorrow morning, but temperatures will fall during the day on Thursday. Will be mostly cloudy, another windy day, winds gusting up to about 40 miles per hour. During the afternoon, temperatures fall to around 39 degrees. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here.
Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1,
And always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Down in London town to go-go. Oh, with the record selection and the mirror's reflection, I'm a dancing with myself. Oh, when there's no one else inside, in the crowd alone.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie.
You knew all the words to that.
I do know the words, but sometimes it's just funnier and more fun to go. Welcome back to the show. I'm sorry.
Don't
We've only
be.
got one segment left, and it's a good one. It's a good one. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Tony Colombo. My partner, of course, is Katie Fitzpatrick, and it is that time of the week again.
It's that time again. Time to open up Closest Cabinet and see what's inside.
Closest Cabinet on Colombo and Katie, brought to you by Weber Chevrolet.
That's terrible. That's a terrible tag. We
That's
got to
from
do that
Jim.
again. No, we got to do that again.
A redo.
We got to do a redo. I mean, I'm
Why
glad
do
we
a
got
redo?
Skipper on there, but I'm just saying, like, just
You
add
gotta
it
make it a
on
little
there.
bit more.
Yeah, we need
Okay.
to, like, incorporate it into the thing a little bit more.
I gotcha.
That's right. It is time to open up Closest Cabinet. Mark Close from KC95 is with us. Marker, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, folks. You guys good? Everybody good?
Everybody's good. Everybody's good. And, of course, also, Skip Weber from Weber Chevrolet, the sponsor of Closest Cabinet, is with us as well. Skip, how are you?
I'm better now that you said you're going to change that opening.
Yeah, right? I know. It wasn't good. That's the first time I heard it. Katie said at the beginning of right before we went on the air, Katie was like, "Oh, by the way, we updated the open for Closest Cabinet, and
We
now
got it done."
And Weber Chevrolet's on there now." So I was like, "Oh, all right. I can't wait to hear this." No.
All right,
It's
you
just-
guys
it's
throw
just-
some ideas
it's
my
not-
way.
It's just the opening.
It's not that bad.
It's just
not that bad.
it's
well,
middle
it's
bad.
not, but it's just the original opening, and then Jim going,
Brought
"Brought to
to
you
you
by
by
Weber Chevrolet." Like, I mean, like,
Well, you guys should I add some car sounds to it?
I don't know.
What do
We'll
you think,
talk about
Skip?
it. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But yeah, that one needs a little
Some work.
Yeah, we're gonna workshop that one a little bit. We're gonna got a lot of things I wanted to talk with you gentlemen about. But Skip, first I wanted to check in and see how things are going out at Weber Chevrolet.
Man, they're going great. We just had our this last weekend. We just had our busiest weekend, other than Black Fridays. We've had our busiest weekend in a couple of years. That was really good.
Wow.
And a lot of it's just driven by stuff more, just a, increased ramping up of vehicles arriving. Shipments arriving.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been tough all along. Like Mark says, it looks like we're going out of business, and that's I get it. But more stuff coming means more people coming and picking their stuff up if they've put their name on it or just coming and look at it. So it was cool to have, I'm looking at every hour looking at the logs and going, wow, we're selling some cars this weekend, This is a normal everyday weekend. Now the auto show was in town, which is a great thing. The people that do the auto show here in St. Louis, they do one of the best in the country. And that always spurs a little bit too. So that was good. I think it's been a good time, and it's a great time to check out our website and come see what we got going on.
Well, my wife was thrilled, as we talked about last week, that the microchip came in for her Equinox, and she now has her heated seats in her car. Are we catching up on things like that? Because I know like microchips and things like that have not only kept
They were building down building stuff without a few chips, and so it was mainly things like heated seats, heated steering wheels, and a couple other small electric items, and they were delivering them without those items, and they took the price off the car, off the vehicle, car, truck, or SUV, whatever it was, and so you didn't pay for the item, but then they were shipping the chips and having it upgraded for free. So you ended up getting the whole thing for free, with the option. But their goal was to be done by December 31st with every one of those that had not been shipped like that. And if they didn't make that, they came really close. They probably are done. If someone's out there that says, I haven't gotten mine yet, I apologize. But they really, as far as I know, they achieved that goal. All of my customers got theirs.
Yeah.
And so, yes, so I think they're pretty much caught up.
Yeah, we got our notification, I think, in November, and made the appointment for late December. And she's all, like I said, she's all set. She's had her heated seats for a couple weeks and right on time, with it being January in St. Louis.
Great.
So she's she's absolutely loving it, and it's great to hear that some of that selection is coming back. And of course, you can always keep up with everything that's happening at all three Weber Chevrolet locations at WeberChevrolet.com. Marker, what's happening with you and everybody over at Katie?
Well, we're good. Let me see if I get this straight. Let me
Okay.
run this down
Yep,
here real quick. Let's
Yep.
see. Skip Weber. Weber Chevrolet's been in business. They used to sell chariots. They've been around a million years. They've been in business a million years.
Well over 100 years.
Well over 100. He comes off one of the best weekends he's had in a long time, right after sponsoring Closest Closet.
Make the connections, people.
There you go.
Make the connections.
Hey, Mark, I think you're onto something here.
Oh, I'm on to something.
I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something. That's
I think you are too. I don't think it has anything to do with the extra inventory at all.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it has everything to do with you joining the team here, and being a part of Closest Cabinet. I think Mark is spot on. So
maybe maybe a little something in the driveway, the Corvette, a little something. I'm not.
Maybe not a Corvette.
Mark is asking for the hookup.
Maybe not a Corvette. Maybe an oil change or two. Maybe not a Corvette.
I'll take it. A car wash. A hearty hello. I'll take whatever I can
Mark,
get.
come on over. I'll give you. We'll give you the Columbia car wash for free. Come on.
There you go.
What a guy.
Here you
What
go.
a guy.
Yeah, it's the least he can do to
It's
say
a
thank you.
$23 value.
Really. And he always does the least he can do.
The
Thank you
least
very
he can
much.
do for the biggest weekend in years. That's so funny.
Nice.
Wanted to talk to you guys about this. A super interesting survey was just done by a website called UltimateClassicRock.com. They did a big survey, and they have determined rock's most hated songs and albums. Skip, obviously a huge music fan, huge rock fan, and Mark, of course, there at Katie. So I can't think of any two people better to have this conversation with, and we'll see if you guys think that they are right or wrong about the assessment of the worst rock songs and the worst rock albums. So we won't do one at a time. I'm going to read off the top. They list the top 8, weird number, but whatever. They list the top 8 of the most hated rock songs. Here they are, and then I want to get everybody's thoughts on them. Number 8.
I think I know number 1.
Yeah, what do you
think I know number 1.
You want to take it? You know what? That's a good one. Why don't we take a couple guesses at it before I read you the top 8? Go ahead. What do you think is on the list, Mark?
Starship, We Built This City.
Not number 1, but is in the top 8. And I knew you were gonna. You were gonna say that one. I knew you had a thing for that song.
I can see that.
I have no problem with this song. Why people go after that one is beyond me. But go ahead and go back to your list.
Yeah, they have for a long time.
I agree with that. I always like that too, but it's not. Another one that I hear people they don't like that I've always loved. It just got overplayed. Maybe was "Don't Stop Believing."
Yes,
by Journey.
I love that song, but you're right.
Not on the list, thank goodness. If Journey's on this list, then I'm
sad.
taking an issue.
Yeah, I'm sad.
You have any guesses, Katie?
Don't Stop Believing was the first thing that came to mind for me as well, Skip. But you're right. It's not because it's not a fabulous, amazing song. It's just because it's overplayed and because it has that weird association with Glee. I know that that's a weird thing to bring up, but Glee really made it super popular for millennials and then the Zers, which makes the people
older folks,
who grew up
pisses
with
them
Journey
off. Yeah.
really upset.
Yeah.
So
I think the problem with Starship song is that it's listed here as a most hated rock song, but that's not really a rock song. That was kind of an 80s pop song by a group that had done great rock music.
And
I think that's what made people upset, that they feel like it's like this sellout, of a song.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, it's not even really a rock song. It's more like an 80s pop song to me than a rock song.
Let me ask you this question: Is there any REO? Is there anything from REO Speedwagon High Infidelity on there?
There is no REO Speedwagon on here. So here, I will read you
That's the other polarizing. All the old REO Speedwagon fans that love their old stuff, they thought that they sold out so bad at that. Now, I think you can listen to both and enjoy them both. But
you know who else?
People I know that are furious with the 1980s REO Speedwagon.
You know,
how much different they were.
I think you could put the Chicago, who was also not. There's also not a Chicago song on this list, but I think that exact argument, Mark, don't you think could be applied to Chicago? There's a lot of when Chicago kind of went synthesizer and made some love ballads and sold way more records and got way more airtime than they ever did when they were churning out the more straightforward rock songs. Like the fans of Chicago labeled them as sellouts and hate that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at, a lot of the really big bands like a Journey and a Chicago and a Styx, it's the ballads that are their big selling songs.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ones that put them over the top. And like Skip was talking about, early REO to later REO, and I mean, back in the Casey days, we're on the first REO album, second one with Like You Do and Golden Country and all that.
Exactly.
And
right
for a lot of times, it's when those hits happen, that's when the bands start making some money.
Right.
I mean, early on, they're not moving a lot of product or doing big concerts, so they're working at it. So, I don't mind. Hey, you've been doing something
I don't
long
either.
enough and you finally get a payoff. Yeah,
I've never understood a fan of a band that when that band makes it big, the fan gets mad.
Yeah.
Sellout. They
And
call
I'm
it
gonna
sellout, and it's like, no, they're actually paying their house payment.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
Go ahead, Skip.
I'm going to give Chicago a giant pass because they lose Terry Katz, who's one of the greatest guitarists, maybe one of the most underrated guitarists. Jimi Hendrix's favorite guitarist. Okay?
Yeah.
They lose Terry Katz. He was leaving the band anyway, but he accidentally shot himself and he died. So he wasn't even going to be coming back.
Right.
They lose him. They have to change their style.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't. They're horns and a great guitar player.
Yeah.
In good bass and good vocals and all that. So there's not a lot of guitar players that want to come in and fill Terry Katz's shoes or play with horns. So they had to change their style.
Yep.
I'll give them a pass on it.
Yep.
I think they still sounded pretty good.
Yeah, I do too. I like both.
Say, well, they're not like old Chicago.
Right.
Oh, they're terrible. They're not.
I like both versions, so I'm with you. So here, I'll give you the 8 songs first, and then get your reaction to it, and then I can give you the 8 albums. So these are rock's most hated songs and albums. Song number 8, Silly Love Songs by Paul McCartney and Wings. Number 7, Mr. Roboto by Styx. Number 6, We Built This City by Starship. Number 5, Shiny Happy People by R.E.M. Number 4, We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel. Number 3, Susudio by Phil Collins. Number 2, Kokomo by the Beach Boys, which I definitely do not qualify as a rock song. And number 1 is I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith. Once again, Mark, a ballad. A ballad gets all the hate because Aerosmith isn't allowed to write a ballad. They're supposed to be rock songs.
Well, and again, and so much of that is a lot of it is hate is a rough word. I would say burned out because you heard it so many times. It's like, I love me some Stairway to Heaven. I've heard it enough for a while. Freebird, all that. But I mean, anything, it's like chocolate ice cream. Can't eat it every day, 24 hours a day. You need to take a little bit of break. And I think the music you hear a song so often, it's just like, all right, back it off. I don't need to hear it for a while. So
I feel like whenever you listen to those ballads, though, I mean, Aerosmith and that first song, whenever you hear a ballad like that, I think that it shows even more of the talent of the band and the vocalist and to see where the lyrics go. I mean, I never have ever gotten why, Mark and Skip, people do hate on ballads so much. I feel like it shows a little bit more depth to the band, but maybe maybe people are like, that's too corny.
And as a wedding DJ, I don't know what I would do without those.
You gotta have, you gotta have them. People fall in love all the time.
I have no problem with the ballad at all. I agree with everything Mark said, and I will say this: Mr. Roboto should be number 1.
Yeah.
Not a fan right now. Not only is it a terrible song, it also killed one of my favorite groups. I mean, I was. You'd be hard pressed to, when I was in 7th and 8th grade to find a group that I liked better than Styx. The first album that I bought with my own money, Styx Grand Illusion. I love Styx.
Yeah,
And a few years later, they did Paradise Theater, was okay, and going down, and then Mr. Roboto.
It's the definition of jump the shark.
Over it.
It's the definition of jump the shark. Yeah, you're exactly right. Let me do the albums here real quick. So this is now the top 8 most hated rock albums of all time, according to UltimateClassicRock.com, which just did a big survey of the people that visit that website. Number 8, Van Halen 3. Number 7, Dirty Work by the Rolling Stones. Number 6, Lulu by Lou Reed and Metallica. Number 5, Unfinished Music. Number 1, John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Woof. Number 4, Music from the Elder by Kiss. Number 3, Love Beach, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Number 2, Self-Portrait by Bob Dylan. And number 1, The Hard Way, Allman and Woman, which is Greg Allman and Cher. Yikes. Skipper, you got any?
I cannot disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with that list at all.
Yeah, spot on.
It's a genius list, actually.
I agree. It's funny that there's like Greg Allman and Cher and John Lennon and Yoko. Like there's a theme to some of the bad rock albums, Mark.
Well, and you said when you went back to the singles, the one was McCartney. What was the song from McCartney? And
Silly Love Songs.
Okay,
Songs, yeah.
there's Linda.
that
There's the wife
song.
joining in on that one too. So
I
guys,
love
if
that
you're a rock and
song.
roller, I do too. But keep the wives at home.
We only want to hear about the mistresses. No wives involved.
That's it. Yes, thank you. Illicit love. Yes. So,
Van Halen 3. You guys okay with that being on the list?
Yes, I am.
It's not one of my favorite Van Halen albums, but I wouldn't put it in the top. But yeah, it's okay.
This is interesting. Number 10 on the list was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. What do you think of that?
That's foolish. That's
right?
horrible.
That is foolish.
That's people.
Yeah, that was
that's
number
people
10.
That don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
They weren't.
If you listen to it as a new Beatles fan right now and listen to it for the first time, maybe you might say, well, what's so great about this? I heard so much about it. It's overrated. It's like people that watch Animal House for the first time. They don't understand. Nobody had done anything like that before. It was unbelievably innovative, and it's got great songs on it also, but just the framework of it between that and Beach Boys' Pet Sounds revolutionized how albums were made.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Concept albums. You know, you can't put that on the worst album. You don't know anything about music if you put that on the worst album.
I agree. And what's so crazy is both lists were pretty solid lists. Like, it was like you read these and you're like, you know what? They did their homework and they were really talking to a lot of good, rock and roll fans and minds because, like you said, when I did the top 8, which was the official list, it was spot on. But to find out that was number 10, Sgt. Pepper's is number 10, is that
the Beatles version or is it the original motion picture sound? Remember when the movie came out? That was horrendous from Sgt. Pepper.
You know what?
I'm wondering if that's what they're talking about.
That would qualify big time.
That would be a big difference. You're right, Mark. You know what? I have it here in front of me, and all it says is Sergeant. It doesn't say. You know what? It doesn't.
Or the motion picture.
Hold on. You know what? It doesn't say by the Beatles. It does say movie soundtrack. So you're right.
That's it.
So that changes
the one
it.
with Peter
catch.
Frampton and the Bee Gees and all that.
Good catch.
That one just.
Man,
that
you
ruined
just
a lot
saved
of
UltimateClassicRock.com's credibility.
Yes.
That I almost flushed away. That I almost destroyed. So my apologies.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great catch. That is a great catch. All right, boys. Unfortunately, we are just about out of time, but really appreciate your time as always. Mark, or anything else going on at KC95 we need to let folks know about?
I'm just going to be sitting on my my driveway waiting for my car to show up. So anytime, Skipper, I'm ready, buddy.
And Skip, WeberChevrolet.com, best place to go for people that are looking to see what's happening at the 3 dealerships.
That's WeberChevrolet.com or WeberFord.com. Don't forget. You have the Ford store too.
Yes, absolutely. Weber Ford out in Granite City. Weber's got you covered. Chevy or Ford, they've got you covered. So make sure you are checking them out. Skip Weber and Mark Close, really appreciate your time as always. We'll talk to you next week. Same time, boys.
Great.
See ya.
Talk to you guys then.
Yeah, see you guys. Great stuff there. Closest Cabinet, always a great time. And I really think Mark was onto something there. Skip has his best weekend selling cars at Weber Chevrolet in a couple of years, right about the same exact time that he joins.
It's iffy.
Up with us here on Colombo and Katie and closest
Could
Cabinet.
be a coinkydink, I don't think.
I don't know. Coincidence? I think not. All right, that's going to do it for Colombo and Katie today. Don't forget to subscribe to the Colombo and Katie podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode of the show. You can also, of course, subscribe to us on YouTube. Now that we're back in our main studio, the cameras are once again live streaming video, so you can watch the show every day on the Colombo and Katie YouTube channel. So make sure you are subscribed to that as well. Tim Jones and Chris Arp show coming in next. Susie Moore from Red State playing the role of Tim Jones this afternoon. They are coming in now. Colombo and Katie back tomorrow at 2. Thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here at 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Talk.
Steep surge of rising prices.
I will visit the border myself. That matters to St. Louis.
To see the chaos that he himself created.
101.9 and 94.1.
Incredible information.
News Talk STL. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
First, some basic facts. Cows have gas, and when they flatulate, now that's a $5 word, for what kids and some adults would giggle and say, "You mean fart?" Yeah, anyway, when cows do it, they emit methane gas. Woke green activists say that cows are to blame for almost 15% of methane gas in the world. And it's not just what comes out the rear. Cows also burp. There's more methane gas. Now comes a solution to this crisis. A giant dairy company says it will reduce cow methane by 30% in 7 years. First, by breeding cows that burp and fart less. How? I don't ask. Anyway, here comes the real kicker. They're also going to put masks on the cows. You heard me. Put masks on the cows. How are they supposed to eat? Only when allowed to eat. No more grazing in the fields. With a cow mask, no more burping. I know you're thinking, Larry, you're just making this up. No, it's true. And New Zealand's left-wing government is going to start taxing livestock farts and burps. The ultimate plan, quit raising cattle and other livestock.
For more, listen to the Larry Connors USA Daily Report tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Ackerman Toyota wishing you a great 2023, but Jay Ackerman knows that times are tough for some. So Jay has a mission to help charities that truly make a difference. Food banks, veterans groups, charities battling cancer, head injuries. Jay wants to give back to the community. So I personally ask you to consider his mission when you're shopping for a car. AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota at Hampton and Interstate 44. Ackerman Toyota for life.
Let me tell you about my good friends Mike and Beverly Sloan over at Elite Printing and Packaging. Going on their 21st year in business, a success story that began